So the handsome and extremely talented François Ozon, thank you for being with me today. And congratulations on Summer of '85. I had heard marvelous things about it since it started playing film festivals. I wasn't prepared for it to move me the way it did. I really, really loved the film. So I'm excited to share it with our readers. So I think I'd like to begin. I know you read Aidan Chambers' original novel, Dance on My Grave, when you were a teenager, but you said that it took you many years before you got to the point where you were able to make the film yourself. I'm wondering why now? What had to change within you in order to be able to make the film?
Because I'm an old man now, I'm far away from my youth. And I read a book when I was 17 in '85, and I was so moved by the book. And I was dreaming to become a director, but it was like a dream at this time. And my first desire was to see this story on a big screen, So I was thinking an American director will do it one day, and I will be so happy to be the spectator. Among the audience to watch this story. I was thinking maybe someone like Bob Reiner, because I saw Stand By Me, or Gus Van Sant, maybe because I loved My Own Private Idaho, could adapt it. So I was waiting for them, but they didn't come. So after 35 years, I read again the book. I had still in mind because I really loved it when I was young. And after the film By the Grace of God, which was quite difficult to release because of all the problems in France and the church, all these things. I wanted to go to something lighter. So I read again the book and I loved it.
It helps, of course, that you have two amazing leading actors in this film,
Yes.
Félix and Benjamin, who play Alex and David. I'm wondering, did you cast them together? How did you find them and decide on them for the leads?
For the first time, I started the casting before finishing the script because it was so important to have lead actors who can carry on their shoulders the story. So I met very, very fast Félix for the part of Alex, and I was quite sure he was the character because he was close, he was naive, he was quite innocent, and I met Benjamin for the part of Alex. And when I met him, I said, he's too old, he's too mature, he's too perverse too. So it's maybe perfect for David. So we made a test with the two together, and the chemistry was amazing. They had a lot of pleasure to work together. They become very good friends. And it was a pleasure to work with them together.
There is a bit of symbolism in the film that I think is so brilliant. David uses a comb in the film, but it looks like a switchblade knife.
Yes.
To comb his hair all the time. I think that's just so clever because it is a tool of his vanity, but it is also a hunting tool, the way he's able to seduce Alex throughout the film. Was that your idea, or is that in the original book?
No, it's my idea. It's not in the book, but there is the comb. There is a comb in the book, but not a comb like a couteau. How do you say couteau?
Like a knife.
Like a knife. How do you say un couteau? Un cran d'arrêt? Le cran d'arrêt, comment?
Like a switchblade.
Switchblade. Yes.
And the idea was to have something to be beautiful, for your hair, and at the same time dangerous. You can kill someone with it, and it's all the problem with David. First you are seduced, but you realize it's dangerous too. So there are the two things in this symbol of this piece.
Most of the film, the relationship between Alex and David is told through flashback, through Alex's memory. And you shoot those scenes a little bit differently. For example, in the cinema, when we see the two of them together, they're the only two people in the balcony. They're sitting in the very front row, perfectly framed with perfect lighting, which suggests to me this is a memory. This is not literally what happened. It is not history.
Yes.
I mentioned this because one question I had watching the film is Alex a reliable narrator? Are we seeing things the way they really happened, or is...
What do you think? What do you feel?
I honestly, Alex...
He's becoming a writer. Is he honest as a writer, as many artists, Does he tell exactly the truth, or does he tell the legend of the story?
Yeah.
You don't know. I don't know too. I think what I love about this story is the fact that Alex, it's his time of the first time. You know, he discovers life, he discovers death, and it's a kind of disillusion for him because he was dreaming his life. He was dreaming of the charming prince, and he discovered the charming prince doesn't exist.
I was going to say, you know, one thing that really moved me in the film is I had a relationship very much like that between Alex and David, and I was not
You were
prepared.
David or Alex? You were David or Alex?
I was the Alex for sure.
Okay.
It made me look at the relationship in a very different way. And it's funny thinking about my own experience. One of the questions I have about Alex and David, you establish David as a character that loves speed. He loves excitement. He's what we call in English an adrenaline junkie, someone who is addicted to the rush.
For us, he was a kind of James Dean, a young James Dean.
Okay.
No, it was one inspiration for the actor.
Okay, I mean that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Do you see him as a character that is truly in love with Alex, or is he just addicted to the excitement? Is he all about the chase, as we would say?
It's all the question you have in mind, what you have in the head of Alex. It's important questions. What I really loved, you know, when they split in the scene in the shop, Benjamin cried during the scene, and you can see his tears. He's saying very bad things to Alex, and you have the feeling in his words that he doesn't love him, but at the same time he's crying. So there is this contrast between the body and the words, and that means maybe he's in love with Alex, but he doesn't want to admit it, or maybe he's afraid. You know, there is a scene which is very important and which is the art of the film. And in the nightclub, when they're dancing, you know, with the yes, they don't dance on the same music. And that's all the problem, you know.
When you and I talked last time, I interviewed you for By the Grace of God, another wonderful film that I loved. We talked about how you explore themes of masculinity in your films, themes of secrets in your films, and themes of guilt and shame, internal guilt and shame. This is another film that hits all of those themes. Why are you so fascinated by those? What insight do you find in making films about those subjects?
I think there is a difference with this film because there is no shame, there is no guilt. Of course, there is the guilt about the death, but about the sexuality, what I enjoy in the book, which was quite revolutionary for a book of young adult, is the fact it's not an issue, the fact the two boys are gay and they have a love affair. It's a universal love story. It could happen between a boy and a girl or two girls. You know, it doesn't mean anything. And that's what I love. And that's why the book was so surprising in the 80s, because at this time, all the representation of homosexuality, especially in France, were very dark, about guilt, about violence, and of course with AIDS it changed everything.
That's very interesting, Francois. I'm wondering then, when you go back and tell a story that really moved you as a teenager like this one, what do you sort of realize about yourself as a teenager or as an adult? What perspective does that offer?
I think I was close to Alex too, as you, when I was a teenager, but now I'm closer to David. So I understand the two parts, and that's maybe why I needed to wait so much time to adapt the book, because it would have been totally different before.
Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.